They were clapping, actually clapping, on Christmas morning, because my wife had just handed me divorce papers, and her entire family thought they were about to watch me fall apart. They were wrong, and by the time the room went silent, everything she thought she owned, her plan, her power, her future, was already gone. That if you've ever felt disrespected, underestimated, or quietly erased in a relationship, this story is for you. Before we go any further, hit like, tap subscribe, and let me know in the comments where you're listening from. I read every single one. Now let me take you back to the moment my marriage didn't just end. It exposed itself. Christmas morning always used to feel warm. Not just the fireplace, the expectation of peace. That illusion where, for a few hours, everyone pretends nothing is wrong. The living room was chaos in the usual way. Wrapping paper everywhere. Coffee going cold on the table. Holiday, music humming softly from a speaker no one was really listening to. Lauren stood in front of her parents' fireplace. Arms folded, feet planted, not relaxed, not nervous, prepared. Like a judge about to read a verdict she'd already rehearsed in her head. Her mother, Patricia, sat forward on the couch, smiling too hard. The kind of smile that isn't joy, it's anticipation. Her father, Robert, leaned back, calm, satisfied. The look of a man who thinks he's watching order being restored. Her sister Michelle already had her phone in her hand. Not subtle about it either. Like she was waiting for something worth recording. Her brother Jason leaned against the counter with a mug, wearing that smug half-grin people wear when they think they're about to witness justice, even when they don't understand the full story. Even her teenage nephew, Ethan, pretended not to watch, while watching everything. Then Lauren handed me the envelope. Manila. Official. Heavy. Open it, she said. Not softly, not privately, loud enough for everyone. I didn't rush. That mattered, because before I even touched it, I looked around the room. And every single face told the same story. They already knew. This wasn't impulsive. This wasn't emotional. This was scheduled. Christmas wasn't chosen for closure. It was chosen for maximum damage. I opened the envelope. Divorce papers. Filed. Signed. Ready. There was a pause. 3 seconds. Maybe 4. Then Patricia clapped. Actually clapped. Michelle laughed and joined in. Jason raised his mug in a mock toast. Someone, I still don't know who, said, "Finally." Lauren didn't smile. She watched me closely, waiting. She wanted tears, anger, begging. Something ugly she could point at later and say, "See, this is why." Every eye in that room weighed my reaction like it would confirm every whisper, every complaint, every narrative she'd been feeding them for months. Instead, I folded the papers carefully, neatly, like they mattered. Then I slid them into my jacket pocket. Interesting timing, I said. Christmas morning. Lauren exhaled sharply. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. We both know this marriage is done. Michelle laughed again. She's right. We're all relieved. That word hit harder than the papers. Relieved. Not sad. Not conflicted. Relieved. I nodded slowly, letting it sink in. They didn't see a man losing his marriage. They saw clutter being cleared. A problem being removed from the room. What they didn't see, what none of them could see, was that they were celebrating without knowing the rules of the game. I reached into my pocket. Well, I said calmly, since we're being honest today, I brought something too. Lauren's confidence flickered. Just for a second. I pulled out a clean white envelope and held it between us. Patricia leaned forward. What's that? A Christmas gift, I said. For Lauren. Lauren frowned. What is this? Open it, I said. You want an audience. She hesitated, then snatched it from my hand. Her fingers shook, just slightly, as she tore it open. Her family leaned in. They were expecting drama. What they got was silence. Lauren's face changed. Confusion. Recognition. Then something colder. The room went quiet. No clapping this time. No laughter. She stared at the paper like it had betrayed her. What is it? Michelle asked. Lauren swallowed. Read the header out loud. Her voice cracked. Notice of eviction. The words hung in the air. Notice of eviction. No one moved. No one spoke. Lauren kept staring like it might rearrange itself into something else if she looked long enough. Patricia's smile collapsed. Robert leaned forward, squinting. What does that mean? Lauren kept reading. 30 days to vacate. Legal action. Remove personal belongings. Michelle laughed nervously. Okay, this isn't funny. It's not a joke, I said. My voice surprised even me. Steady. Calm. It's a legal notice. Patricia shook her head. That's impossible. You two own that house. I met her eyes. No, I own that house. The silence that followed pressed against my ears. Lauren's head snapped up. What are you talking about? I bought the house 2 years before we got married, I said. My name is the only one on the deed. Jason stood up abruptly. That's not how marriage works. It actually is, I replied. Very exactly. Lauren collapsed into a chair. You can't do this. I live there. I have rights. Which ones? I asked, not mocking, genuinely curious. You're not on the mortgage. You're not on the deed. You didn't contribute to the down payment. That doesn't matter, she snapped. I paid bills. I waited. Let the room breathe. Which bills? I asked. Her mouth opened. Closed. The mortgage comes out of my account, I said. So do property taxes, insurance, utilities, groceries. Patricia stepped forward. She contributes in other ways. She hasn't cooked in 8 months, I said. And the only thing she cleans is her makeup off the counter when she's actually home. Lauren flushed red. You're twisting things. I'm listing them. Jason pointed at me. This is vindictive. You were clapping 5 minutes ago, I said. That shut him up. Lauren flipped through the eviction notice. You can't evict someone on Christmas. The notice is dated December 1st, I said. I've had it for weeks. Michelle crossed her arms. So you've just been waiting? I've been paying attention. Lauren's voice dropped. You knew I was going to file. I suspected, I said. People don't stop coming home 3 nights a week and start hiding their phone for no reason. Michelle's eyes widened. Patricia turned sharply to Lauren. Is that true? Lauren said nothing. Robert cleared his throat. Even if the house is his, this is cruel. Where's she supposed to go? That stopped being my responsibility, I said, when she decided to end the marriage. Lauren stared at me like she'd never seen me before. You're really doing this? You already did, I said. I'm just responding. She laughed. Sharp. Hollow. You think you've won? I think today isn't what you planned. She looked at her family. Waiting. No one stepped forward. No one offered help. And that's when I realized something. They loved celebrating consequences. They just didn't like dealing with them. I reached into my pocket again. This time, just emotion made her tense. I brought documentation, I said. Credit cards, debt, gambling, hidden accounts. Numbers don't argue. They testify. One by one, her family read. And one by one, they pulled away. The applause was gone. The performance was over. Lauren sat there smaller somehow. Not defeated. Exposed. For the first time in her life, there was no one left to blame. 3 weeks later, the house was quiet. Not lonely. Peaceful. The divorce moved fast. Evidence does that. 6 months later, she showed up at my door. Smaller. Broken. I'm sleeping in my car, she said. You used to care. I still do, I said. I just learned who not to sacrifice myself for. I closed the door. Marriage doesn't fail in explosions. It fails in small dismissals. Unpaid attention. Assumed loyalty. And sometimes the loudest justice is silence. When applause turns into accountability, if this story hit close to home, smash that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Backhand index pointing right, who do you think was right in this husband-wife debate? Your support keeps these stories coming, and I'll see you in the next one.